Hello, XRP Army, and welcome back to another Wine Crypto movie. We're currently at Bitcoin 25, where history is being made. Bo Hines just dropped some huge news about making the US the ultimate crypto superpower. Trust me, this is going to blow your mind. I also know something that no one else does about Ripple's secret plan to become a real bank and the shocking links between JP Morgan and XRP. So make sure you watch this whole movie because it could change everything for people who own XRP. This guy, Bo Hines, is working hard to make the US the world's crypto capital. What he says could change everything for everyone. Take a look at what Bo Hines says. We need to update our old payment rails that have been around for a long time. If you look at technology in a broader sense, you can see how the ways we talk to each other and move money have changed over time, but the way we move money hasn't. That needs to be fixed. So we're looking at a way to make transactions go much faster and settle right away. We're also looking at a way to make things a lot clearer. Finally, we'll look at something that will make the US dollar the most important currency in the world for decades to come. But Bitcoiners should still care about this because it means a huge amount of money will be coming into the market for digital assets. This is great for Bitcoin users and helps Bitcoin a lot. We're very excited about what's going to happen because of Genius. I also think it's important to thank Senator Haggerty for his leadership in this area. Tyler Luke Pettit in Senator Haggard's office has done a great job. He has worked hard on this process and we've been able to finish it together. Do you see how much better things are now that there are instant settlement times? Now for the fun part, keeping the US dollar in charge for decades. This is what makes me really happy. He wants to put a lot of money into the digital asset market, which makes people like us who own XRP happy. Hines said something important about stable control, and there are two big bills that the Senate is working on, the Genius Act, and the House is working on the Stable Act. It's interesting that these two sets of lawmakers will have to work together, and I think the Genius Act will be the one that does it. You might ask why? Because it gives people more control over their own custody and recovery rights, taking power away from banks and giving it to us. These are the kinds of laws we need. Next, we'll talk about Ripple's big plan to become a real bank. There is political genius at work here, not just guessing. Let me start by explaining what Ripple is right now, a neobank. For those who don't know, a neobank is a fintech company that only does business online and doesn't have any real banks. It has branches that offer basic services like checking, savings, and payments. However, they work with regular banks to handle deposits and make sure they are safe with FDIC insurance. Now, here's where things get interesting. If Ripple wants to become a lender of last resort, which I think is their ultimate goal, they need to become a real bank. This would be a huge step forward. Most people think that Ripple is just a company that helps people send money between countries, but that's not true. Ripple is building the infrastructure that will support the whole next generation banking system. The last part of the plan would be a banking license. If Ripple got a banking license, it would be able to connect directly to central banking systems. It should be legal to use both cash and cryptocurrency. It should also be easy to combine CBDC and stablecoins. Finally, there should be no brokers. Ripple already has clear US legal rules after winning the SEC. It has over $25 billion, 0 cents in assets and payment lanes that connect 70 countries. Remember that XRP is an asset that can be used as a bridge between all global currencies, CBDC pilots in Bhutan, Palau, and Montenegro, as well as strong ties with the BIS, the IMF, and central banks all over the world. And there's more to this story, but right away, my license would make Ripple just as real as Wells Fargo and Bank of America. Yes, JP Morgan deals with $10 trillion, 0 cents every day, but Ripple is getting ready to fight at that level. With this license, Ripple could make branded stablecoins, offer institutional custody, act as a gateway for tokenized real assets, legally hold reserves in multiple countries, and act as a clearinghouse for CBDCs. They're already taking steps in the right direction. They bought Medico, a crypto-heavy company that big banks trust, and they're getting into real estate. Check out the $60 billion 0 cents land deal in Dubai. That's about 7% of all the real estate they own. This is how the future could look. Watch out for these new groups of assets owned by banks. We believe, and I believe it's happening right now, that digital assets will end up being statistically more spread out in a few big banks than they have been in many others. In the future, digital assets will not be spread out among many smaller banks, but will instead be owned by just a few big banks. This is the same thing I was talking about earlier. Not all banks can deal with tokenized securities, which makes Ripple unique because Ripple has a world license and a big war chest. They are ready to buy companies and grow very quickly. Ripple has come a long way in the past year. Imagine where it will be in 2025 or 2030. Also, guys, I have a secret trick that no one else seems to be using, and I don't know why. If you sign up for the BTCC exchange through my link in the description, you get a 10% payment bonus. Stay with me here. This is the important part. If you move trading capital from another platform to your new Bitcoin account, you get an extra 10% of your trading capital. That's right. You get 10,000 Bitcoin for free if you move your capital or pay 100,000 Bitcoin. This is not a joke, and it really bothers me that no one is doing it. I guess people are either too lazy or don't like getting free stuff. I guess you'll have to watch the movie again to really understand. Now, here's what I found when I looked into the connections between JP Morgan and Ripple. It's really interesting. So take a look at this paper I found. It's an official JP Morgan paper that talks about the case of Ripple that could change the way transactions are handled around the World Bank. The US has known for a long time that Ripple will become a major competitor. There are close ties between the two companies in government reports about how to unlock value in other payment systems. JP Morgan specifically mentions Ripple and XRP, comparing XRP to large systems like Swift. They are aware that Ripple is a major player in the market. And JP Morgan is increasing the number of crypto assets they hold and their level of involvement in digital assets. They already have experience with Bitcoin and Ethereum as popular ways to send money between countries. It makes sense to move on to XRP next. Some say that JP Morgan has started to accept XRP as payment and may be stocking up in case there are more XRP ETFs in the future. Both of these companies are part of the international swaps and derivatives that caught my attention. This is a personal link. The ISDA makes it easy for them to work together and make sure that industry standards are followed. Sandy O'Connor is on the board of Ripple. She used to be the head of regulatory affairs at JP Morgan. Let's talk about how to play stuff wisely.